Buyers of large cars like SUVs look set to gain in India's tax reform, driving up shares of Mahindra & Mahindra as well as Eicher Motors. Changes to the consumption tax system towards a simpler structure will lower prices for more than 90% of everyday goods. The goods and services tax will be divided into two slabs of 5% and 18% come the 22nd of September. Replacing the current four strategies. Some critical medicines for rare diseases, health insurance policies, and Indian breads will be completely exempt. Other changes aim to simplify a system long considered too complicated. Economists say the move could also have been triggered by recently imposed US tariffs that added up to a hefty 50%. That has been refuted by the finance minister.
Tariff turmoil is not a matter which influenced the GST reform, because we've been at it now for more than 1.5 years. Some group of ministers was working on rate rationalization, some other group of ministers a bit later was working on insurance, and so on. And compensation cess was a reality, that it is going to end the moment you paid back the loan. None of this has anything to do with the tariffs.
The measures, though, were hailed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a post on X. He called it a next-generation step to ease the burden on citizens and boost economic growth. While consumers can take some joy in those tax reforms, central and state governments in India could see revenue loss of as much as $5.5 billion every year. Ishan Garg explains how local governments have reacted.
When this meeting between the states was going on, some states did oppose the idea of cutting down GST rates by such a massive margin. So they have been demanding for some sort of an economic compensation for the states that will lose their GST revenue. And the calls for these demands were being led by mainly two states. We would see there are states like Karnataka in southern India for whom 36% of their overall revenue comes from these indirect taxes, and also then Punjab in northern India, for whom roughly a quarter of their revenue comes from these GST indirect taxes. So their call has been to get some kind of a compensation from the federal government. But the question of whether the economic impact of the tax reduction is going to be huge, we're already getting some initial analysis by economists who are saying that the spending spurred by reduction in taxes could actually boost India's GDP by about 1 to 1.2%, which could be a growth in itself, certainly, but it will also likely to offset any economic damage that 50% US tariffs could have caused to India's GDP.